Well, hi there. Welcome back to another teaching chat. It's fantastic to be back with you again. I have a question for you today. I'm wondering if you do any kind of group lessons in your studio. Is that something you include? Because there's lots of reasons why you might want to include them. Now, what I'm not talking about here is switching over your whole studio. That's a whole other thing, totally valid. If you're a group piano teacher, that's awesome. I think that's great. But even if you're not, and even if you don't want to be, I think there's a few reasons why you might want to include some group teaching into your overall schedule and your overall teaching calendar. So the reason number one is extra income, right? We'd all like to make a little bit extra money. Now, this depends on the way you do it, okay? If you're going to roll it into tuition, then it might not be extra income. It might. If you roll it in there, it might be that, or it might just be a bonus, or you could charge on a one-off basis. So that's one way of adding extra income into your studio, is to add group lessons onto your schedule, advertise them really well, and charge for them as people come for them, as people sign up. Or you can roll it into tuition, and it might make your lessons that little bit more expensive than the next teacher. Another reason you might want to do this, though, and this kind of goes along with the income, is to bring holidays or breaks into your studio. That's what I did this year. I've done group lessons for a while, but this year I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the midterm breaks that the schools take, which there's 2 a year. There's actually kind of 3 now, but anyway, there's supposed to be 2. And during those times, I'm going to do group lessons instead. So this allows me to take those weeks off in the middle of the week, and then I do group lessons on the weekends either end. So I can travel, I can do whatever I want during the weekdays, right? So it just gives you that flexibility in your schedule, allows you to set things up a little bit differently. It's not actually a ton of extra time, right? Because you have to plan for those group lessons, and that often takes a lot of work, and then you have to do the group lessons, but it should still save you a little bit of time on those weeks, and it can help you to just have that little bit of flexibility that you can go see your aunt or whatever it is without having to somehow rearrange an entire week of students. Like, that's impossible. So that's the second reason that you might want to bring in group lessons, is the logistics of organizing a studio and having some flexibility where you can take some weeks and have a different schedule those weeks. Reason number 3 is to cover stuff that you're not getting to cover. So a lot of the big academies, or at least over here, the academy, they insist on theory lessons weekly as well as private lessons. And without that, we can be a little bit strapped for time. So maybe there's stuff like, maybe it is theory in your case, maybe it's improvisation, maybe it's playing duets, maybe it's anything else that doesn't normally fit into your regular lessons. Well, group lessons can be a way for you to cover that really efficiently with all your students. Say it's theory, right? And you want to use theory games. Well, those work even better in group lessons than they do one-on-one. Because when students are playing with each other, they learn from each other's mistakes and what they're doing, and they have more fun because they're not just playing with their boring teacher. I'm not boring, but you get the idea. They get to have fun with each other and create that rapport. So that's fantastic, and it gets them interacting with the game and with the theory. But also, if it's improvisation, improvising together is a lot more enjoyable, and it takes the pressure off and all that stuff. So that's another reason why, if there's something that you're like, I never get to do this, every single week I run out of time for this thing, maybe a group lesson is in order. Maybe that's where you could fit it in with all your students together or in batches, so that it's more efficient and you're getting more time with them to do that. Reason number 4 is to add some social elements to your studio. And this is probably one of the first things people think of, or for a lot of people with doing group lessons, is it means that they get to make piano buddies, right? They get to make friends with each other in your studio and build a sense of community in your studio. And that actually is really important, because piano is a solo activity most of the time. It's something where it's not like soccer or anything else. It's something you do on your own, and then you practice on your own. And even like a band instrument, right? You get to play with other people. Pianists don't always get that. So bringing in those group lessons, even if it's not to play together, even if it's to do music theory, can be really valuable because they see other people are going through the same things as well. And they know a bit about what's going on in your studio, and it feels like a community. Reason number 5, last reason you might want to, well, it's not the last, it's the last one I have for you, is to provide more performance practice. And a lot of us do this. This is how I first did group lessons, right? I got my students into my studio to do like a rehearsal, a dress rehearsal for a recital. And it's a great reason to start doing group lessons. It's kind of an easy one to start with in some ways because you've got that structure. You don't have to do a huge amount of planning. You want to plan some other activities, but they're more to complement that. That's the main event. You're doing the big rehearsal. Everyone's practicing their pieces for each other. And you want to prepare some listening activities for the other students. And it works great. It's a great way to get started. Even at regular group lessons, you can provide performance practice just for a couple of students. Let's say you have a student who's got a piece they're really proud of and there's a group lesson coming up this week. Get them to play it. Get them to show everyone how amazing it is and celebrate them in that way. So providing performance practice is a fantastic way to use your group lessons and maximize their potential. Okay, so let's say you do want to consider adding group lessons, but you're like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to plan for it. What am I going to charge? Am I going to include in the schedule? What's going on? If you're starting to think ahead maybe to next year or including them this semester, then I have the perfect webinar for you. It's coming up this Friday. So it's at Friday in my time zone. That's 6 p.m., which is UK or Irish time. 6 p.m. Now in the States, in New York, that's going to be 1 p.m. on Friday, which means it's 10 a.m. on the other coast, right? LA. And in Australia, that's going to be the middle of the night. So if you're in Australia, well, in some parts, maybe it's just really early. No, it's the middle of the night everywhere. So if you're in Australia, still sign up, but you can catch the replay, right? So I'm going to add the link into the comments here. It's Vibrant Music Teaching / awesome groups, and you can sign up there. And I think it's going to be really great. I've got the whole thing planned out. I'm going to take you through all the logistics of setting up group classes, including them in your regular schedule, what you need to do at them, how you're going to plan it. I mean, we're going to give you a sample lesson plan. It's going to be fantastic. So I'll walk you through the whole process. So please join me on Friday if you can. It's 1 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. here in Dublin or London. Okay, so I hope to see you there. It's been fantastic chatting to you today, and I hope you'll consider adding groups into your studio. Bye for now.